All right, now we got some video here. So give it a couple minutes to get a couple people back in here. But as I mentioned just a little bit ago, there was an article in the Lawrence Journal World just a bit ago about the Lawrence Community Shelter staff requesting increase in pay and increase in funding and an increase in standards and such for the shelter and for the people that are going to be staying out there. I've already shot off an email to the lady that wrote this article, Kim Callahan, because one of the things that she does in here, and this is a common thing that happens in Lawrence with the Lawrence Journal World, it's in the way they say things that they skew this information. Now I'm going to read this article, read this paragraph to you, and you wouldn't know any better if you weren't in the know around here. So it says, Dean Robinson, another shelter worker, said that the staff was currently being paid, quote, significantly less than the city pays the workers at Camp New Beginnings and in other homeless service programs, unquote. Camp New Beginnings is the city-supported campsite near the Kansas River in North Lawrence. The Journal World reached out to the city Monday afternoon regarding what city workers are paid, but did not receive an immediate response. That's the end of that paragraph. Now, here's the interesting thing about this, because this very same rag, the Lawrence Journal World, several months ago when the city was looking for help with the North Lawrence shelter, they published the article that said, when the city was looking for help with the North Lawrence camp, the city actually published the article, or sent them the information that the Lawrence Journal World published that said the city was paying $25 an hour. So to act like the city wasn't paying significantly more is, I mean, they could have put that in here, but what they've done is they've worded this in a way to make it as though maybe Dean doesn't know what he's talking about. And you guys are all going to get, those of you that don't know the situation, you may get that impression that maybe Dean's just a greedy shelter worker that wants to get paid a whole bunch more. But the reality of his argument is accurate. His argument is dead on accurate. And if you look up above in some of the things that they're asking for, they're seeking job security, paid time off, ceremonial time off for Indigenous employees, as well as healthcare, dental, and vision insurance. Those things are nothing out of the norm, and any city worker is going to expect that. Tell me you city people downtown that are working don't expect that from the city of Lawrence. So don't act like it's any big deal that they want these things in their employment. And with what the city's going to demand of the shelter, because they've already made it known that they're going to push all the responsibility for homelessness to the shelter. They're going to make them run the pallet village since the city couldn't get a actual service provider to run it. Boom, city takes over Lawrence Community Shelter and then instructs the shelter to run pallet. And all of a sudden now the city has all kinds of extra money to be throwing at LCS because now the city's in charge and it's all about money. When the shelter that in the existing programs that were out there, if the city would have just done 10% of what the need was quoted as, things would be a lot different. But the city wouldn't give in. The city didn't think it was worth it then. How is it worth it now? What has changed? Where is the money coming and going, and what's going on here? We already know that Misty Bosch Hastings is being seen as a gatekeeper to the money for many. And we also know that this is the person that runs the homeless outreach programs in here in town. She's the Homeless Initiatives Division Director, but she's got several of the more active homeless advocates just blocked on email. What's that all about? People that she has barely interacted with, just blocked. This is a city employee who is supposedly running homeless programs, just blocking advocates who are trying to help the homeless. Now, what kind of city does that kind of stuff? The shelter staff, and I'm going to get back to this article because the way this is spun, shelter staff also want more employees to be hired to keep up with the increase in shelter capacity. Well, we know the increase in shelter capacity is going to have to be coming because that's what the city has dictated, right? Okay, so you're going to have to hire more staff. Nothing outlandishly there. Including kitchen staff for food and prep, the release said, but did not specify how many new employees would be sought. Well, go ask the city. They're the ones that are going to be in charge. How many new employees are going to be needed? Has Misty Bosch Hastings even thought about that? And then we look at, God, this article. The Lawrence Community Shelter Board of Directors is still working toward finalizing a proposed funding agreement with the City of Lawrence. The amount had not been publicized as of this writing. Now, guys, this is something that, as of the last time that I checked, is on the agenda for Tuesday night. So they're still trying to figure out something as of the publication of this article, which is a couple hours ago. And this meeting is supposed to happen tomorrow night, where the city commissioners are supposed to hear about how much money they're supposed to be needing. They don't know. They're never going to know because they have no clue what they're doing. According to the meeting agenda, the proposed agreement will substantially increase staffing and city funding to LCS to support expanded emergency shelter capacity and operations of the village. The community of 64 square foot pallet cabins that was recently constructed on North Michigan. So, hey, out there in North Michigan, this is the disorganized management you've got coming your way. Guys, you can't believe everything that you read in the newspaper. They're spinning this as though the city is doing good things and the shelter employees don't know what they're talking about, when it's those same shelter employees that they're going to need to be able to do all this shit that they've been talking about doing. And every time the city talks about doing all this stuff, what they are notorious for doing is they push anybody that has any idea about how to really do this stuff and do it right. They push them out of the way because those people won't go along with the bureaucratic BS that goes on. That's about all I got for tonight, guys. But we need more people at the city commission meeting tomorrow night to listen to how they're going to fund this thing. And you guys need to be more vocal about what's going on, because the city is basically just throwing $1 after the next, trying to solve a problem that they have no clue about how to really solve. They're not approaching it from any kind of a solution. And the city is once again being reactive. They're notorious for just simply reacting to problems and throwing money at it. Guys, I got a broken arm, so I'm going to have to reach across the screen to turn this off, and have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.